Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Nam Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Nam Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Nam Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Rama Nam Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Nam Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Nam Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Nam Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Nam Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Nam Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Nam Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Nam Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Nam Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Nam Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Nam Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Nam Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Nam Ram Ram Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Welcome to Bhakti Japa Conference. May I know who all are on the call today?
Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Nam Ram Ram
Krishna Prithulasi Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. This is Indulekha Karuna Devi Dasi from Lincoln.
Hare Indulekha Karuna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Prabhupada, thank you so much, Mataji, for joining us and your very valuable association.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. Yashomati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashomati Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining us and chatting in a very beautiful association. Welcome to
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna is themselves. Hare Krishna. If anyone else would like to introduce themselves on the call today.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Neetu from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna, Neetu Mataji. Jai Shri Prabhupada. So much, Mataji, for joining your very valuable association. Is there anyone else who would like to introduce themselves? Okay. Hare Krishna, I welcome everyone to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before we get ahead in Bhagavad class, I would like to read the quote of Srila Prabhupada, 20th December. One can please a pure devotee of the Lord. Such action means immediate satisfaction of the Lord, even though such a person is not officially qualified to receive the mercy of the Lord. Letter to Yeager, December 20th, 1970. Thank you all so much for joining us today. And we're very happy to have His Grace Prabhuji to enlighten us on Sri Caitanya Bhagavat. So at present, we are doing for today Sri Caitanya Bhagavat Adi Khanda, chapter 15, verses 9 to 17. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for your very wide association on the call. You can now please over the call. Hare Krishna.
Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chanda Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chanda Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chanda Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, welcome all the devotees for coming today to hear about the glories of Lord Chaitanya's magnanimous pastime, especially this chapter. I want to share the screen. Can you
Hare
make
Krishna,
me the co-host?
Mataji, can you please make Prabhuji co-host? One sec, Prabhuji, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Is it okay, Prabhuji?
Yeah, it's fine.
Thanks, Mataji.
Hope it is visible.
Yes.
Okay. So we would be reading today from verse 9 to 17, Caitanya Bhagavata, chapter 15. Dharma sanatana prabhu sthape sarva dharma lokaraksha lagi prabhu nalangena karma. As Sanatana Dharma himself, the Lord establishes the principles of religion in order to protect people's religious principles. He would not tolerate any transgression. So in this verse, Vrindavan Das Thakur, so he is mentioning about how Lord Chaitanya, though he is Swayam Bhagavan, though he came in the form of a devotee, he doesn't like to transgress the principles of religion. Like Krishna, he states in Bhagavad Gita, I descend into this material world to protect the devotees as well as to annihilate the miscreants. So what is Dharma? So it is a set of moral codes established by the Supreme Lord. But the problem with the conditioned soul is that he just sees the activities of the Supreme Lord through the window of Dharma. That is the problem. Whatever moral codes the Supreme Lord establishes, that has to be followed. So in that way, there are two paths. One is the path of Dharma and the other one is path of Bhakti. So in the path of Bhakti, we all know that how the Supreme Lord always favors the devotee, how the Supreme Lord reciprocates to the devotees. But in the path of Dharma, to be an exemplary example to demonstrate how one should conduct his life in this material world, the Supreme Lord again, he has to be the person who should teach and who should act by his example. So everything, because he came in the form of a devotee, so how a devotee should act, how a devotee should behave, that has to be demonstrated by the Supreme Lord, Lord Krishna. Here actually we are saying about the pastimes of Mahaprabhu. He nalaja tahare dehe na sheshane se arna aishe kobu sandhya koribine. The very moment such a delinquent appeared, the Lord would put him to such shame that he would never again come without first completing his morning worship. Lord Chaitanya, his main instruction is to chant the holy name, and his main instruction is that one should mold his life and conduct his life in such a way that it acts as an impetus to develop pure love for Krishna. Lord Chaitanya teaches his students in such a way that they don't feel sentimentally hurted by the Lord. Rather, they take those instructions to their core heart, and in that way, their love is also mutually reciprocated. And the Lord also teaches a lesson to the conditioned soul through his students. Because the pastime which we are saying now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started his own school, and then he taught Sanskrit grammar. Every akshara he connected with Lord Krishna, and then he would ask the student not to attend the class if they are not wearing tilaka. That we will be saying. Prabhu bole kene bai kapale tomar tilakana deki kene ki yukti har. The Lord would say, "Oh brother, why I do not see any tilaka on your forehead? What is your explanation?" So this is how the Supreme Lord interacts. Like a teacher interacts in a normal school, and how the Supreme Lord interacts with his students. So generally, if a student doesn't wear uniform, then the teacher make them to stand up or kneel down or make some punishment. So here, Mahaprabhu is asking his student, why you are not wearing tilaka? What is your explanation? So he is giving a chance. So this is how actually a devotee should try to interact with the fellow devotees. Any complicated, any conflict or any embarrassing situation still can be handled with the proper use of words. So actually Chaitanya Charitamrita, Caitanya Bhagavat is actually language of the spiritual world. How the Supreme Lord interacts with his devotees, how a fellow devotee interacts with the other devotee, we all should learn. That's why the Vaishnava etiquette, everyone is not a perfect devotee, but the attitude and the aptitude should be in such a way that he should become a good devotee by next day. He should improve himself every day. So the importance of tilaka is stressed here. Like Nimai, he asked his mother, Sachi Devi, I want to give only one request or instruction, that you should fast from grains on Ekadasi day. So it means that actually he is stressing that. Sachi Devi is Nimai's mother, mother of devotion. So if he is stressing to his mother, it means that actually he is emphasizing to the conditioned souls. So here he is teaching the conditioned souls about the importance of wearing tilak. The glories of wearing tilak is unlimited. And Mahaprabhu, as earlier mentioned, every akshara, Sanskrit word, he used to connect with Krishna. And here, the importance of wearing tilaka is to develop pure love for Krishna. So why a devotee has to wear tilak? Mahaprabhu certainly has brought up this point. So tilak on the body acts to purify the body and indicates that our body is surrendered to Krishna. So it means that the symptom of wearing tilak is that it immediately makes the person to think that he is servant of Krishna, and it also makes him to remember Krishna. And the body becomes a temple. Why? Because the Supreme Lord resides in each devotee's heart. And who wears a tilak? A person who has surrendered himself, or a person who is on the Saranagati path has to wear a tilak on his body. So the particular places on the body where tilak is applied are sensitive parts on the body which easily absorb the spiritual energy generated by reciting the transcendental names. So even scientifically, we can see that actually the Agya Chakra, which is between the two eyebrows, it actually induces good memory and thinking power. And actually, evil forces attack easily if the Agya Chakra, I mean the spiritual energy emanating between the two eyebrows, if it is in a weak condition. So actually, scientifically, it not only activates our nerves and senses, spiritually it also protects us from evil forces. That's why I used to say that generally tearing a polythene paper from the outside is very difficult. But if there is a small hole in the polythene paper, it is easily tearable. Mostly, in this age of Kali, people, they don't wear tilak. And actually, the vulnerability is like that. They can be easily attacked by evil forces. No doubt on that. Whether it is a man or a woman, if the eyebrows are not protected, that's why the women generally they used to put the bindi, red kumkum smart in the forehead, and generally devotees, Matajis and Prabhujis should wear a tilak because actually it spiritualizes our body and it also protects us from the evil forces. So when a devotee puts tilak in 12 places, it means that actually every day a person puts tilak on his body. It means that he is decorating the temple of Lord Vishnu. In one year, he is establishing the deity of Krishna in his body, because every time a tilak is being put, the corresponding names are being recited. Om Keshavaya Namaha, Om Narayanaya Namaha. Like that. So essentially, the applying of tilaka installs the Lord on 12 parts of the body or creates Krishna's 12 temples on the body. So actually, the higher realization, Krishna is not different from his holy name. Krishna is residing in the temple. Krishna is residing in his deity form, and he is also residing in our heart. And we decorate the body because it is temple of Lord Vishnu, it is temple of Lord Krishna. So the Padma Puran, it also glorifies wearing of tilaka. If one is not wearing tilak, he will not get any result from the performance of chanting, austerity, study, Gayatri, Yajna, or any other spiritual activity. We all know that in Kali Yuga, every activity, whatever we do, has fault and dosha, which is inbuilt, that is unavoidable. So that's why for all ceremonies, Prabhupada used to say that along with the traditional ceremonies which we used to conduct in our tradition or in temple or in the home, it should be always accompanied with Harinam Sankirtan, because even if there is flaw or defect, it is overlooked, overruled. So like that, even the pronunciation of mantras or doing samskaras or even the reading the literatures, it makes a difference if a person studies Bhagavatam by not wearing tilak and also by wearing tilak. It makes a difference. Chanting wearing tilak and chanting without putting tilak on our body. So it gives all auspicious results. And it is auspicious darshana. If someone sees the tilak on a devotee's face, he will become freed of all sins. So that's why if a person sees a person wearing tilak, he immediately remembers Vaikuntha, he immediately remembers Vishnu. So he is in a different platform now, just having darshan of devotees. So during olden days, if a person is not wearing tilak, and if a devotee happens to see that person's face, in order to get themselves purified, they immediately see the sun. So what if it is not the daytime? Anyhow, we have to remember Krishna, because the purpose of mind creation is to remember Krishna. And death, if wearing tilaka, time of death, one will go to Vaikuntha. Because this all symbolizes that he is a servant of Krishna. Putting Tulasi Kantimala, wearing tilaka, or writing the holy names on the body, remembering Krishna. Material world means death. The insect is not aware that it is going to be caught in the tight grip of a frog's tongue. And the frog is not aware that it is going to be tightly gripped on the tongue of a snake. So similarly, a human being, he also doesn't know when he will leave his body. And that's why Prabhupada used to stress that if a person is not wearing Kantimala and Tilak, how dangerous it is if he understands from the scriptural point of view, then his legs would be always shaking, because this material world is always a dangerous place. So Krishna is pleased and resides with the wearer of tilak. Yeah, this is the ultimate point. Why we chant? To please Krishna. Why we wear Kantimala? To please Krishna. Why we wear ultimately our own purification? But these are all the angas of bhakti. So Krishna is most pleased. The acharyas are most pleased. And tilak on the body means the body has become a sanctified temple of the Lord. So we worship the temple because the Lord resides there. So an advanced devotee, whichever living entity he sees, he worships them, because his consciousness is that the Supreme Lord is residing there. But for a normal person, if he happens to see a person wearing tilak, then immediately his consciousness is also getting spiritualized. So what is the idea of wearing tilak? The idea is that just as Tulasi is always found on the lotus feet of Krishna, so the devotee's heart, mind and life are always supposed to be found and fixed on Krishna's lotus feet. So Prabhupada says that Navavidha Bhakti, and whatever we do, the ultimate principle is to remember Krishna. And we have to mold our activities in such a way that we never forget Krishna, but always remember Krishna. So the mind should be fixed. Tulasi Devi is always fixed in serving the lotus feet of Krishna. And that's why even in our tilak, below the two vertical line, we have a Tulasi tilak. So it makes us to remember that we should always remember Krishna. And a Vaishnava, a rich man, is known by his aristocracy, wearing a coat suit, a costly watch, like that. So a devotee is immediately recognized by saying Shika, by saying his tilak, by saying the Kantimala, and also vibrating his mouth, chanting the holy name. So actually, the Vaishnava practice of adorning the body with tilak is glorified throughout the Puranas, Itihasas, and Pancharatrika literatures. It is very, very important in a devotee's life. Mahaprabhu stressed very much the importance of wearing tilak, and it has a deeper meaning. So we all know that Krishna himself is attracted by his own lotus feet. That's why he is sucking thumb of his own lotus feet. So much nectarian. And we put two horizontal lines, tilak, which represents Krishna's lotus feet. The spiritual master lotus feet and the lotus feet of Krishna, it is transcendental, very, very beautiful. Generally, when a person is accustomed to see the feet of a conditioned person, he just sees only how clean it is. But the lotus feet of the spiritual master as well as Krishna is all auspicious, all charming, cooling effect, and transcendental. It can give shelter to innumerable souls, both the spiritual master as well as the lotus feet of Supreme Lord. And even the bumblebee, we can know whenever Krishna wanders in Vrindavan, they revolve around the lotus feet of Krishna. So it is the mark of a Vaishnava, devotee of Lord Vishnu, and it indicates surrender to Krishna. So Prabhupada used to say that a devotee has to go out because for preaching or book distribution or Harinam Sankirtan, ideally Vaishnava dress is recommended, ideally. But for preaching, book distribution, he can also wear the traditional dress, but Prabhupada didn't compromise on certain principles. And one such principle is that whenever a devotee goes out, he has to always wear tilak, because that can only protect him. In Middle East, Gulf country, we all know that Muslim countries, so generally people, they are forbidden to wear tilak in the public places. But when they assemble for congregational gathering, they used to put tilak. So one senior sannyasi, none other than His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, so he told that I think it should be around 50 to 60 devotees when they were all assembled in some place. He told, maybe due to non-availability of tilak at that place, he told that all devotees, please go and then wear at least water tilak. At least if Gopi Chandan is not available, chant the holy name, Om Keshavaya Namaha, and put water tilak. And then almost all of the devotees put water tilak and then came and then got seated before him. One devotee thought that what difference it is going to make, whether it is water tilak, anyhow it is not going to be visible. And then he just went inside, but he didn't put the tilak, and then he came and then sat before Maharaj. Maharaj specifically pinpointed that person. How can we give you protection if you are not wearing tilak? So it was easily identifiable. We don't know actually how a tilak protects us, because a parent knows very well how to protect a child. Similarly, the spiritual master, they are always eager how to protect the well-wisher, the devotees and the disciples. And tilak is very, very important. How can we give protection? And on Mataji also, one time wearing full blouse. Full blouse means till coming to the finger area. She was just crossing, and Maharaj asked her, why you are not wearing 12 tilak? How can your body be protected? So tilak is very, very important, both for Prabhujis and Matajis. Because again, material world danger, even if a person goes to the airport or to the railway station, or sometimes while going through YouTube channel, they used to observe that how animals bite each other. Immediately it gets hurted. We have got a body. Danger from other animals. There are danger from birds. There are danger from beasts. There are dangers from weapons. There are dangers from many calamities. We don't know. Why? The reason is ignorance. But the spiritual master, the Supreme Lord, they always want to protect the devotee. Because sometimes, if a person falls down, then immediately he scolds a person who is standing nearby. Why you are not protecting me? Similarly, the children also sometimes scold the parents. You are not protecting me properly. That's why I got to fall in a ditch. But in case of Supreme Lord, he always wants to protect the devotee. He is giving his mercy through his instruction. We pray to the Supreme Lord for protection, and if the Supreme Lord says that we are tilak, so it should be accepted as instruction and mercy. Why to doubt? But the problem is that many people want to wear tilak, but they are fearing for the society. They are fearing for the friends circle. What they will think, how they will tease. So it means that actually a human being is contacting his life due to the fear of the society and his surroundings. But no one is actually saying him what type of danger he is going to face if he is not wearing tilak. That only Acharya can give us a fair idea. Very dangerous this material world. So wearing tilak, one is also freed from sins, and just the other person who happens to see a tilak, he is also freed from sin. So it's in one way, it's like a win-win situation, both for the devotee and also for the common people. So, and there are some basic philosophical understanding which every devotee should know, the importance of wearing tilak. So we all know that Krishna, after having an intimate loving pastimes with the Gopas and Gopis in Vrindavan, then he left Vrindavan, went to Mathura, and then later he went to Dwaraka. So Krishna was also always thinking of the Gopis while he was residing at Dwaraka. And the Gopis in Vrindavan, they were always feeling the love in separation from Krishna. So Uddhava, so he came as a messenger. Then he conveyed the message to Krishna how the Gopis are feeling the topmost conjugal bliss in loving separation. And Krishna wanted to fulfill that desire. Then there was a secluded meeting near Dwaraka. That place is called as Gopitala. So Krishna, actually, it was like a huge, you can say, it should be like a lake at that time. And Krishna, along with his gopi friends, they all took bath here. So at the time, what happened? So all the ointments and then the scents, the perfume, the tilak, the sandal paste, kumkum, vermilion, from the transcendental spiritual body of the gopis, it happened to dissolve in the water, and then it got filtered in the mud. So this place, when it gets dry, only from these places actually we are getting gopi chanda. A person can go and then take as much kg or as much gunny bag or tons of gopi chandan from here. Sometimes people, devotees, they also used to wear Radha Kunda tilak. But generally whatever we can say, the paraphernalia or the ingredients which was attached to the spiritual body of the gopis, that filtered, condensed part later became as gopi chandana. So in that way, actually the topmost devotees are the gopis. And if we wear tilak, it means that we are wearing the dust of the lotus feet of the gopis. And the dust of the lotus feet of the gopis means it's actually the dust of Vrindavan. The devotee's aspiration is to roll down on the dust of Vrindavan. But every day, when we wear tilak, we should always be under the impression and the remembrance that the dust of Vrindavan is decorating our body. So that should be our mood. So this clay picked up the scent and golden color of Krishna's most dearly beloveds and became transformed and spiritualized in the process. So then again, so they are all transcendental spiritual. So by the arrangement of Yoga Maya, that lake got dried. And now actually we can get in huge quantities. Actually, the one more beautiful aspect of this tilak is that Krishna himself, how did he reveal himself at Udupi? We all know that Madhvacharya, due to his love for Krishna, Krishna appeared there when a boatman came there and donated 2 mounds of Gopi Chandan to Madhvacharya. And when Madhvacharya was carrying, actually the Gopi Chand mount got broken and Krishna manifested himself. So it means that actually Krishna wants to remain surrounded by the gopis' lotus feet dust. So how dear the Gopi Chandan is to Krishna. So definitely when we wear Gopi Chandan, so we should always remember that it is very, very not only auspicious for us, but Krishna is most pleased. And when Krishna manifested the Udupi deity, even 30% they couldn't lift the deity. After Madhvacharya embraced the Krishna deity, then only they were able to lift the deity. So it means that actually Krishna manifests by the pure love of the devotee's mood and sentiment. That's all. Big temples are built. How? Only by the love and devotion of the acharyas. So this tilak, because Caitanya Mahaprabhu is stressing the importance of wearing tilak to his students, means actually wearing of tilak is very, very conducive to develop pure love for Krishna. That's the core reason. He's stressing that. Okay, anyhow, getting freed from sin and definitely getting liberated, they are a byproduct. And certainly, the ultimate perfection is to attain pure love for Krishna. This is very, very conducive. Very, very conducive. So in devotional path, whatever is favorable, whatever is conducive, we accept that. So in that way, he was very, very, Mahaprabhu was very strict that every student should wear tilak, or else actually he would make teasing and then make the student embarrass and feel shame and shy in such a way that they immediately go to their house, put tilak, and then they come back to school. But now actually children's, boys, girls, even if they want to wear tilak, they feel that, oh, my friend in the classroom will tease. But actually the core factor is that actually surroundings only influences such thought. Because if a person comes to Mayapur, even person who don't wear tilak, they used to say that if I don't wear tilak, I alone seem to be like an odd person. Outside, if a person wears tilak, so apparently it may seem that he is at odd. The other people are normal. But if a person comes to Mayapur, if he doesn't wear tilak, he looks odd. Then immediately somehow he buys tilak and then he puts tilak. So actually, though it is apparently visible that people live also according to the opinions of the surrounding, the ultimate opinion is the opinion of the scriptures, acharyas, and the Supreme Lord. Everyone has to compulsorily wear tilak. And if we wear tilak, it means that we don't have love for Krishna, but we know that actually Gopi's love for Krishna is the highest. And the Mahaprabhu came only to teach this principle, Gopi Bhartu Pada Kamalayor Dasa Dasanu Dasa. Everyone has to act in such a way that he please the Supreme Lord Krishna. And Mahaprabhu taught us the highest principle, how to love Krishna in the mood of the gopis. But after understanding the mood of the gopis, which is in the highest platform, then how can a devotee aspire any sentiment or mood apart from gopis' love for Krishna? So the mood of surrender is also visible if a person wears tilak. So generally, the person in the initial stage, they used to think that what is surrender? A person who starts to chant the holy name, he has taken up the process of surrender. A person who wears tilak, he has taken up the process of surrender. So the gopis' cosmetics later changed as Gopi Chanda. So we all know that the paraphernalia used by the Supreme Lord and the paraphernalia used by the acharyas, gopis are the topmost acharyas. So when a person comes in contact with that, he also imbibes that quality. So by wearing tilak every day, constantly, definitely by the mercy of the dust of the lotus feet of the gopis, because we go to Vrindavan, we go to Mayapur to take dust in the Chintamani Dham. But wherever we are, when we wear tilak, so the dust from the lotus feet, it transforms us. Like we go to Vrindavan, we go to Navadip, and then we walk, we become a different person, we become purified. So like that, every day we put Gopi tilak on our head, we become a different person every day because we are getting purified. So that's why putting tilak, so definitely one attains the result of bathing in Ganges, and more than twice bathing in the Ganges is the dust of Chitrakoot, and 10 times more sacred than the dust of Chitrakoot is Panchavati Tirtha, and 100 times more sacred is Gopi Chandan, because some analogy should be there. So if you say that Gopi Chandan is the topmost, how people can understand? So that's why the scriptures, how they are glorifying the glories of Gopi Chandan and also wearing tilak is stressed here. So that's why Gopi Chandan is always equal to the dust of Vrindavan. Like Krishna is non-different from his holy name. Gopi Chandan is non-different from the dust of Vrindavan. Gopi Chandan is non-different from the dust of Gopis' lotus feet. Because many Gopis danced along with Krishna and their cosmetics only later changed as Gopi Chandan. So definitely we get the mercy. Like when we read Mahaprabhu's pastime and also the stalwart associates like Shyamananda Pandit. So we all know that in Vrindavan, in a Kunj, he was while he was cleaning that place, he happened to see an anklet bell. Then an old lady came. Then she also revealed that she is none other than Lalita to Shyamananda Pandit. Then later, the anklet bell went into the hands of Srimati Radharani. Radharani was very pleased. Then Radharani, with the anklet, she put the tilak to Shyamananda Pandit. So now, when we read this and hear this pastime, we immediately come to the conclusion that Shyamananda Pandit is the most fortunate because directly touched by the lotus hand of Srimati Radharani into the forehead of Shyamananda Pandit. Like in Bhagavad Gita, whatever instruction Krishna gave to Arjuna, the same mercy is also given to us through Bhagavad Gita. Like that, the gopis' lotus feet dust is coming to us by the mercy of Srimati Radharani through this Gopi Chandan. So it's only a matter of realization. And definitely, initially, actually, when a person takes up the spiritual path, the tendency is to clear off the sin. The tendency is to ensure that he doesn't go to hellish planet. The tendency is to cure all the disease. So this is the basic factor. So naturally, it is covered when a person wears a tilak. So even if he has committed a lot of sins, a person, if he wears Gopi Chandan tilak, then Yamaraj cannot take him away. So in that situation, how can Yamaraja touch him? So there is also a nice story. So we will be also seeing that. So here, tilak, besides the part of the tilak on the nose, it represents that one approaches Lord Krishna through his devotee. So this nose portion, we are putting tilak, no? So that represents Tulasi. Tulasi is always at the lotus feet of Krishna. So to approach Krishna, the only way is to approach through his devotees. So we all know that Vrinda Devi, she is the mother of devotion. So we have to approach Krishna through the Tulasi Devi. That's why our tilak, Gaudiya Vaishnava tilak, it is through horizontal line, vertical line, and we have a Tulasi in the nose. Generally, the horizontal tilak, it should be avoided. Only Urdhva Kundra, which means a vertical tilak, has to be put. It is clearly mentioned in the scriptures. And a person, whoever puts a Urdhva Kundra, the vertical tilak, is glorified in the scriptures. And Prabhupada, he once narrated the story that in North India, in one company, it was a devotee-owned company. So the workers, they used to wear tilak. And later there was a changeover of management. Then later the management was taken over by a Muslim. Then he immediately put the order that no one should wear tilak in his company. So following his order, the next day, no one put tilak except one person. Seeing that person, that Muslim company owner told that he is the only courageous person in his company. He alone is allowed to wear tilak and other person should not wear tilak. So when we drive a two-wheeler, if we know actually how much a helmet is useful in protecting our head in our journey, then naturally they put their helmet while driving. So similarly, our life is also a journey. Whether we are working or sleeping or doing any devotional activity, it's a journey. So in our journey, our forehead should be always be anointed with tilak. Prabhupada used to say this in a very strict mode. Prabhupada, when he inaugurated the ISKCON Society at the United States of America, so seeing Westerners wearing tilak, Srila Prabhupada would be very happy. Sometimes he even, sometimes the principal goes to every classroom to see that the classrooms are running nicely. So similarly, when there is a group of devotees, Prabhupada, he used to go, oh, this Mataji has weared tilak, nice. So your face is beautiful. This Prabhuji has weared tilak. Yeah, your face is beautiful. He used to go and then see each and everyone's face. So he was stressing that Prabhupada. So we can definitely know from these great examples set by the Acharyas and by the Supreme Lord the glories of wearing a tilak. So Prabhupada said that a disciple devotee means they have to have tilak on their forehead. It is a very essential aspect of bhakti. And actually, as I said earlier, people often tend to forget that this material world, generally a person leads a normal life in this Kali Yuga, normal life. Generally, he goes to hellish planet. Because here now, actually eating non-vegetarian food and doing all atrocity act, and people conduct their life in such a way that they don't even know that most of the activities which they are carrying out is covered by sinful acts. So generally, they end up in a hellish planet. It's a very, very horrible experience. Hell is real. When I came to ISKCON initially, 25 years before, at the time, while reading Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto, what a person will experience on the trial he will be put on the road path to hell is clearly explained. So it was intact in my memory. So I happened to visit my friend's house. At the time, my friend's grandmother, she was declared that dead. But after 2 to 3 hours, she came back to life. And she told to me personally, hell is real. And she explained, she didn't read any scriptures. And she explained what all she faced and the experiences, how she was actually tortured during those 2 hours on the road path to hell. Even a person who has read the Srimad Bhagavatam 100 times about the hellish punishment, he cannot explain as the way which she explained. So she has really experienced that. And actually she told that actually the Yamaraja told that you have caught up the right, not the right person. It's the wrong person. She has a additional lifespan for 1 year. Go and then leave her in her home. Similarly, after 1 year, she left the body. But when this incident was told to me by my friend's grandmother, I told that you chant Hare Krishna, it will protect you. And even recently, there was one incident at Tirupati, where one devotee was declared dead. And after a few hours of those ceremony being conducted, he immediately woke up. And then he immediately came to our ISKCON Tirupati temple, and then he started to cry. He took a Bhagavad Gita, and when the devotees inquired why you were crying, then he told that I was taken to hellish planet. Yamaraj was there. He told that this is the wrong person. And while the Yamadutas were bringing me back, they told that if you don't want to see us again, read Bhagavad Gita as it is. Read Bhagavad Gita as it is. It's available in Krishna temple. Then immediately he ran and then took Bhagavad Gita and he narrated this incident. So Yamadutas are also, this is a book marathon month in December. Yamadutas are also preaching Bhagavad Gita as it is. One sannyasi told a person to chant the holy name. Though he was in an ailing condition, but Yamadutas came peeping at the window. Then immediately he took up the chanting beat. So Yamadutas sometimes what to do? They only act as an impetus for a person to take up devotional service, whether one realize or not realize. Yamadutas are visible only to those persons who are either dead or to those persons who are on the verge of death. There is no doubt on that. Very, very horrible. Devotees, they don't see even Yamadutas in the dream. Why? Because of chanting the holy name, being in the association of devotees, reading the scriptures, taking prasad, and then wearing tilak, and then wearing kantimala. They worship the Supreme Lord. But if a person doesn't take up this path, it's a very, very horrible situation. They are real. Generally, they use the people, they mock up saying that, have you seen hell? Have you seen Vaikuntha? It is a real thing. There's no doubt on that. So the Vishwadutas, so they are also very eager to protect the person. You all know that. How Yamaraj instructed Yamadutas not to approach a person who have tulasi plant in their house, wear kantimala, tulasi beads, and also tilak, chants the holy name, surrounded by devotees. Very, very important, crucial factor. But ultimate, actually, for a neophyte, this may be interesting. But for a person who is advancing, he always thinks that actually wearing tilak is always conducive to develop pure love for Krishna. So Prabhupada used to stress this fact. A devotee means having tilak and kantimala. And if in one's own home one feeds a Vaishnava wearing tilak, 20 generations of that man's family from hell are delivered. So glories. There is also a incident which is mentioned in the Puranic story. There was a sinful king who killed many brahmanas, pregnant women, many sinful acts he carried out. And somehow or other, he was murdered by his minister while he was riding on a horse. And then he fell down on earth. And then he was taken to hell. And seeing his history, Chitragupta told to Yamaraj, you should be put in Kumbhipaka, the hell which has boiling oil. And then when he was put, the oil became completely cool. So it means that actually something wrong has happened. So then immediately Chitragupta was also analyzing. he didn't even do even a little bit of pious act. So much sin. Yamaraja was also confused what to do. At that time, Vyasadeva came because he is a Trikala Darshi, Vyasadeva. So he happened to visit that place, and then when Yamaraja he posed his doubts, what has happened? I could not come to any conclusion because he has not performed any pious act. And actually, Dharma is working that even if he is put in the boiling oil, it has become coolant. Something he should have done, but nothing is visible, nothing is tangible. Vyasadeva told that, yeah, he didn't do any pious act, but when he fell down from the horse, when he was murdered by his minister, some devotee used some gopi chandan and a few drops fell on the earth, and he happened to leave his body on the place where few drops of gopi chandan spilled. So he is freed from all kinds of sin. And Vyasadeva also told sin, pious activity, and also the bhakti, spiritual progress is very, very, you can say it is very, very sublime and very, very subtle. It is very difficult to understand. It is very difficult to understand how a person progress by wearing Gopi Chandan Tilak daily. Because Yamaraja is not such a, he is such an exalted personality, Mahajan. He has been given whatever living entity commits a sinful or pious activity, he can immediately assimilate those things. That empowerment is given. But spiritual things are very, very subtle. Even sometimes it goes beyond the imagination of Yamaraj. So if that is the case for a person who wears Gopi Chandan daily, how fortunate he should be. So this is the atonement which a person should do if a person happens to see a person not wearing tilak. He should immediately see the sun for purification or remember Vishnu. So a person, if he wears tilak, that's all. It becomes Vaikuntha. There is no doubt. Immediately the place becomes a surcharge. And in Nectar of Devotion, we all know that there are 64 angas of bhakti. And the 56th anga is to mark the body with the Vaishnava tilak. That is the anga of bhakti. But Mahaprabhu is stressing this when he is teaching Sanskrit grammar to his students. So this Urdhva Kundra Tilak, 2 vertical line, and Tulasi at the lotus feet of Krishna, that is being weared by Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So auspicious. Very, very rare actually to find a person wearing tilaka. But since Mahaprabhu came and inaugurated the Sankirtan movement, and since Prabhupada started the ISKCON movement, now we can see many persons wearing tilak. But it is actually mandatory, compulsory. This cannot be avoided at any cost. The person realizes this. He doesn't care about the opinion of the public or care about the opinion of his friend. They are not going to come and then save him when he is at the pitiable condition, being dragged by the servants of Yamaraj. So very, very important. A person without a tilak dancing on Nagar Sankirtan and a person with the tilak dancing on the Nagar Sankirtan, it makes a difference. Mahaprabhu is very pleased. So, Prabhupada also used to say that, yeah, certainly the inner consciousness, the Krishna consciousness, the mood and sentiment, our purification is very important. external tilak and then mind dwelling on sense gratificatory object, that is not ideally conducive. So if we put tilak means actually it should be very conducive to be more eager to serve Krishna and his devotees. So if that mood is not there, if that mood and sentiment is not there, there should be some defect which a person has to introspect, and some internal treatment has to be given. Go to the next verse. Bujilana aji tumi nahi kora sandhya, aji bai tomar hoilo sandhya bandhya. I can understand that you have not performed your daily worship. So daily worship means chanting the holy name. Daily worship means actually wearing tilak. It's also a daily worship. Mahaprabhu stresses this. Mahaprabhu, he himself says this. The principles which Mahaprabhu gives through his teaching, a devotee absorbs and assimilates all those things in his heart as the life and teachings of Mahaprabhu. Like I earlier told, even in corporate companies, even if they don't allow wearing tilak, at least one should wear water tilak. I think a substitute is there for everything in devotional life. Like when Krishna was born, his father Vasudeva could not give cows in charity. Again, mentally he gave cows in charity, but again when he was released from the prison, he gave it in reality. In some places, if it is unavoidable, there are some alternatives. At least water tilak, chanting the holy name, should be done. Actually, it protects us. Chala sandhya korogiya grihe punarbara sandhya kori tabe se ashiha padibad. Go back home and perform your morning duties again, then you may return to study. So if a person comes to the school without wearing tilak, he is sent back. Like in the school, if he doesn't wear shoes, uniform, then he is sent back. So like that, very, very strict. Mahaprabhu, a person, he is not testing his intellect. He teaches in such a way that their mood and sentiments run towards loving Krishna. And certainly this is a key aspect of Mahaprabhu is stressing, like he says, no, whatever is said 3 times, it means that Supreme Lord is stressing that. So here, if he is sending his student back home to do his morning duty, it's actually a reflection that the amount of necessity, need, Mahaprabhu is stressing on the part of the sadhakas. So we are collect always. Ke moto prabhura joteko hache shishyagon sabayatyanta nija dharma parayana. So in this way, all the lots of students were conscientious about performing their religious duties. They were very happy. Oh, if I am not wearing tilak, then Mahaprabhu would certainly question me. And they would put tilak. And then they, if a person scores good mark, then he would want to sit in the first row because he want to get the attention of his teachers. So like that, the students, they used to put wonderful, nice, beautiful tilak, and then they would come and then sit before Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu would be very, very happy seeing the devotees' faces adorned with the tilak. Generally, it's also the aspiration of every devotee that if the whole world is adorned with the tilak, it becomes Vaikuntha. There is no doubt on that. So auspicious. Keteka haudatya prabhu korena kotuke Ena nahi jare na chalena nana rupe. Like this, the Lord jokingly found the fault with everyone. No one was spared from the Lord's teasing remarks. There is one story. I mean, one person was blind, and then the other person asked him why he became blind. So he was telling that maybe in my previous lifetime, I would have criticized a person who is wearing tilak improperly. Maybe not perfectly vertical, maybe slanting. I should have criticized. That's why I have become blind. Like that he was telling. Though it was a humble question, actually criticizing a person wearing tilak is also detrimental. That also a person should understand. One cannot criticize a person who is wearing tilak. It is not good for him. It is not auspicious for him. So here, the Supreme Lord Mahaprabhu, he was finding fault because actually Guru means, because he came as a devotee. A Guru means actually he has to find fault on the disciples, the student, has to magnify it, and then they have to be rectified. So the rectification part is also taken care by Mahaprabhu. सबे पर स्त्रीर प्रति नाहि परिहासा स्त्री देखी दुरे प्रभु होये न एक पाशा. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, however, never joked with others' wives. As soon as he saw a young woman coming, he would immediately give her ample room to pass without talking. So here, see how Vrindavan Das Thakur is making correlation point. The previous verse, he was mentioning that Mahaprabhu was teasing the students, but the next verse is mentioning he would never joke with others' wives. So with students, his disciples, so he was dealing in that way. But as an ideal grahastha, he never joked, he never teased other person's wife. So his conduct is exemplary. In the sense, actually, whatever activities Supreme Lord does, transcendental, but he was also exemplary. So he was strict in certain principles, and in certain things, Mahaprabhu was giving a flexible mode, like Varnashram, whatever Varna Ashrama they are, just to practice Krishna. No need to bother about that. In Kali Yuga, somehow or other, the Varna Ashrama system is having many fault, defect, dosha, collapsed, whether one may realize or not realize, but no need to bother for that. It's giving the things which one has to do, the angas of bhakti. So, wearing tilak is the 56th anga of bhakti. Generally, when we offer money in charity, we make a request to Krishna, please accept this offering, please accept this offering. But wearing tilaka, we no need to say after wearing tilaka, Krishna, please accept that, because bhakti anga, when we are putting tilaka itself means it is already offered. Very, very intimate service to the Supreme Lord, wearing tilaka. Mahaprabhu is very, very pleased. So this chapter describes about his marriage pastimes and how he was dealing with the students, how he was dealing with other person's wife, how he was dealing with his parents, how he was dealing with the residents of Navadip. These are all tangible. And on the subtle level, he is dealing with the demigods and also revealing his most confidential form to his confidential associate. Those things are also mentioned. So if Mahaprabhu has brought up this point that every student has to wear tilak, and if they don't wear tilak, he was sent back home. It means that it applies to all Prabhujis and all Matajis that wearing tilak is mandatory and compulsory. It not only protects us from all dangerous situations, but ideally conducive to develop pure love for Krishna. Okay, Hare Krishna. With this, I am ending. If you have any comments, realization, question, you are free to ask. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Very, very instructive class, Prabhuji. Wonderful session on teaching us why, how to put the tilak, Vaishnava tilak, and how we actually have to see the entire world. Like, okay, I am a working person, so when I go to office, I do not apply tilak at all. So, like, it is a strength. And you talked about Srila Guru Maharaj and how Guru Maharaj could identify if we are actually wearing tilak or not, even if it is with water. So very beautiful class, Prabhuji, and thank you for also sharing where we collect the tilak from. Gopi Chandan from. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. If devotees have any questions, please go ahead.
Thank you, Indaleka Mataji. Lalitangi Mataji has something to say.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Koti Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, Gurudev ki jai, Gopinath ki jai. As usual, Prabhuji, very, very inspiring class. Today, not able to make a notes because physiotherapist come, but sure, I will make notes afternoon time and send it to you. Koti Dandavat Pranam to your sincere seva. Hari Hari Gauranga.
Thank you, Vrinda Gopika Mataji.
Thank you, dear devotees, for joining. If no one has any more questions or reflections, we can end the call here. Thank you so much. Yashomati Mataji, did you want to say something?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Koti Dandavat Pranam. Super class, Prabhuji. You just explain why we should wear the tilak and everything, and what is the importance to wearing tilak, and how Guru can catch if we don't do. It's very nice and very good. But Prabhuji, I have a question. If I do, I always do the tilak by my finger. So is it okay? And I just try to do nothing in the middle part come. So is it okay, Prabhuji?
A nice question. I expected some question like this, and also about the tilak being worn by Krishna and Srimati Radharani. Anyhow, so actually the two vertical lines that represents the lotus feet of Krishna, and actually the middle portion, no, it should be empty, because Mahaprabhu, when he was teaching to his student, if actually wearing tilak and then not rubbing the middle portion, sometimes actually, because actually in the verse it was mentioned that he used to find fault and then tease, because some person, they were putting tilak, not rubbing the middle portion. Mahaprabhu would ask them, why you are not allowing me a place to reside there? Only if there is a space empty, I can reside there. So this is the lotus feet, and actually the middle portion, actually the Supreme Lord Krishna he resides there. So we should rub the middle portion and make it empty. Like actually, if the Supreme Lord resides in our house, we clean the room. So like that, actually the middle portion has to be rubbed so that actually we allow space for Krishna to reside there. If we don't allow space for Krishna to reside, then it is whose fault? So Mahaprabhu sometimes chastised his students that actually it should be a Urdhva Undra Tilak, that actually the space should be. I see. Okay, so actually, ideally, actually, it has to be kept empty. I see some ISKCON devotees wear Radha Kunda Tilak in Vrindavan.
Yeah.
Is this bona fide?
That's what my question.
So even when Prabhupada was present in this earthly planet physically, these questions were asked to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada told that actually there is no harm, but he was telling that actually we all know that our great Parampara Acharyas, they were residing at the banks of Radha Kund. Following in their footsteps, there is no conflict, contradiction, or any harm if a person wears a Radha Kund Tilak. But Prabhupada said one more point, that in what mood our acharyas resided there. And the Radha Kund being the supreme place, because Gopitala means actually the cosmetics and other gopis, lotus feet. The Radha Kund means actually personally the dust of Srimati Radharani's lotus feet. So he used to say that actually we have to be very careful. Specifically, he used to say the mood and sentiment of the devotee should be proper. So he was stressing the inner consciousness. So whether he wear a Gopi Chandan Tilak or Radha Kund Tilak, it is bona fide only. But again, it is external only, though it is mandatory, compulsory, and pleasing to Krishna. The more important is how do we are complying with the principles of our parampara teachings. That should be our mood. Sometimes actually, sometimes devotees ask Krishna's Tilak, it is like a U shape or shape like that. So Krishna is supreme, all powerful. One time actually in Kolkata temple, Shri Radha Govinda, actually the flute was kept upside down because the holes, instead of being near to Krishna's lotus mouth, it was kept to ulda. And when this incident was reported to Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada told her, don't worry, Krishna can play his flute anyway. Sometimes actually, mostly generally Krishna just gives Tilak. For us actually it's Tulasi, because we follow Krishna through the mercy of Srimati Tulasi Devi. And even if Krishna wears youth Tilak, even with some Tulasi mark also, he is supremely powerful, independent. There is anything like a stereotype, because when Krishna are all being decorated by his gopas, no? So they used to put a Tilak nicely, and Krishna enjoys that, he accepts that. And Gopi Chandan is, because even in the past time we all understand that actually when Krishna was having headache, when my devotees give the dust from the lotus feet, it can cure my headache. No one came forward. Only the gopis came forward. Again, Gopi Chandan, it is only the dust of the gopis, the lotus feet. So Krishna likes to wear that. His devotees also likes to wear that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. Grace to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Prabhuji, wonderful class, as always. I loved how you explained the importance of wearing tilak and why one should wear it, the purpose of it. The whole class was super packed with enlightenment of why one should wear tilak, especially in devotees. my question to you when you answered Shrimati Mataji about, the middle has to be clean. So the 12 places that we have to do tilak, we won't really have a good tilak on all of the 12 places because sometimes it's out of the sight, right? So there may be on the forehead, we can have it nice and clean, but the other 11 more places may not be that perfect. Now, is that okay? Or does that also matter?
Krishna has created the eyes that we can see only what is in front of us, not what is in back of us. So actually, whatever we can see in front of our eyes, so we should make it perfect by rubbing the middle portion. So the back end portion that Krishna knows that we cannot see properly.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can you please explain why the gopis don't, at least on the altars, when Radha Rani, the Srimati Radharani also doesn't have the tilak?
Yeah, generally, actually, Radharani has the red kumkum. Gopis also, they have the kumkum, which is a tradition, and actually the complexion is also golden in color. So similar to the, because actually Gopi Chandan, why it is like yellow and also little orange golden complexion in color, because it is because of the body's complexion. So actually Krishna wears tilak, but generally the gopis and for us actually when we wear tilak, actually it denotes and symbolizes that we are servant of Krishna and Krishna is our master. Gopis and Radharani, yeah, they know that Krishna is supreme, they are their master, but the intimacy forbids them to think Krishna in such a way. So in one way, actually, it will be like little official, though it is not contradictory for gopis and Radharani to wear tilak. They serve Krishna so intimately. But anyhow, they have the red kumkum, and their body is also golden in color, and even if they wear tilak, it may not be visible also. No, so these are all some things which we can understand. So their worship, their service to Krishna is not a formal. The intimacy is more. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. If there are no more questions, we can end the call here. It's already very, very late. So sorry about that, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Caitanya Bhagavata ki jai, His Grace Jivana Gaurahari Prabhuji ki jai. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Pranam,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, dear devotees. We'll end the call here.
Hare Krishna.
Hare